Welcome to Saving America. This is Dr. David D. Schein, professor, associate dean, attorney, consultant, generally a useful person to our economy and our society. And just want to say right up front that our usual disclaimer that the opinions expressed in Saving America are strictly my own. They do not reflect on my university or any other business interests that I have. Strictly my own personal opinion, although it seems to be pretty well received these days. And we divide our presentation into three sections: in the news, rumor of the week, and just the facts.
You say hey, and that's your final answer?
And to get started today, we're going to talk about the impeachment results from last week, as heavily predicted, since it takes 67 votes in the Senate to convict someone who's been impeached, although, of course, the impeachment itself was bogus since Mr. Trump was no longer in office. But in any event, the Senate wasted our tax dollars and our time anyway, going through a fruitless exercise. It was no surprise that he was not convicted. A bit of a surprise is that Mitch McConnell, pretty useless, I refer to him as Mumbles McConnell, did vote to get rid of, to keep Trump, rather, not get rid of him, but to keep Trump. However, 7 other Republicans, largely led by Mr. Sour Grapes, Mitt Romney from Utah, I think is the only state that would have elected Mitch Romney at this point in his career, did vote against Trump. I say sour grapes because he's mad that he ran for president and didn't get elected, and Trump, another businessman, did get elected. But in any event, Romney seems to be trying to at least partially bail himself out by proposing a GOP minimum wage bill that would be phased into $10 versus the ridiculous Democrat proposal, $15 an hour. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But in any event, a big waste of time. I was actually hoping it would go on longer, that they would bring in witnesses, but I think the Democrats knew if they brought in witnesses, they would really, really look bad. This way, they can pretend that they had a case, which of course they did not.
Well, the weakest link. Goodbye.
So let's talk about the rumor of the week. Rumor of the week is one of my favorites. We've got Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. The rumor is he may be indicted on federal criminal charges for lying to the feds about the death rate in retirement homes in New York City, or extended care facilities for the elderly and things like that. You'll recall that about this time last year, the brilliant Mr. Cuomo decided to order retirement and extended care facilities to take back COVID positive persons who had been in the hospital. And of course, this led to an incredible death rate at such facilities. And the big problem, of course, is that about 9,000 deaths were reported, an unacceptable number by anybody's calculation. But it turns out that it was closer to 14,000, maybe more. And that's why the feds are upset. Even the Democrats are going after them. One of the leading reports on this is NBC News, not known as a conservative outlet. And of course, this has provided more fodder for the failed mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, who is term limited, and I think has his eye on the governor's mansion, although I sincerely hope that the people of New York are not stupid enough to give de Blasio any additional time in office, given what a mess this individual is.
Just the facts, ma'am.
So moving on from the rumors, we get to just the facts. And just the facts this week is the currently proposed stimulus bill. As I mentioned above, that $15 an hour minimum wage is a devastating killer to already significantly damaged small businesses and restaurants in America. And I sincerely hope that that part of the bill will certainly go away. and it would go away if they had to go through normal channels. The rumor is this bill is so full of pork, it just oinks when you review the terms of it. One of the most offensive pieces, other than the $15 national minimum wage, again, one of the, we should just call it the job killer, the opportunity killer. Projections are it would cost 1.4 million jobs. And given the projection of so many damaged small businesses, it is just a terrible situation for America. In addition, the unfocused part of this bill is just incredible. They keep talking about the $1,400 stimulus check. I would like to see that distributed only to the most needy. I'd like them to do a study and to have people apply for it like they do for the PPP loans. Speaking of PPP loans, all the money from the last stimulus has not been used. So now the Biden administration is putting a big push on to make sure that small businesses line up and get the piece of the apple. Those few that are still in business can ask for more PPP loans or their first distribution. And that's all fine and good. But the real reason is the Republicans are pointing out, hey, you haven't used all the money from last time. Why are you talking about putting more money out there? Isn't it time to let things soak in a little bit? Maybe take off limitations on dining outside, dining inside, and get things rolling in America. And maybe free enterprise, which is what America is based on, you clowns in the Marxist-led Democrat Party, could figure out a way to get things done better. Probably the most offensive of an offensive porco bill is the proposal to give $300 billion to states and localities. We all know where that money's going. It's going to go to the toilet in California and the toilet in New York and other wasteful states that do not have a prayer of balancing their budgets because they're driving people off. I'm fascinated by reports that say California has a $10 billion surplus. I'm trying to figure out how that happens when the leading report on the state is that people are fleeing to the West, to other Western states and to Texas, and many of those people are good payers, are well-paid people and successful businesses. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see if they generate such a surplus in 2021. But in any event, if they've generated a surplus in one of the worst years in history, which I doubt, I think there's some funny accounting being done there. I really doubt they're going to generate a surplus this year. But based on what happened last year, why would you give those cats any more money? Why would we give our hard-earned tax dollars from the middle of the country to wasteful states that have been encouraging illegal immigration, been encouraging everybody on welfare by shutting down their businesses, persecuting their small businesses? This doesn't sound like a reason to reward them with federal tax dollars, not from those states, but from the feds. And that means it includes money from me. And I don't want it to go to those states. I want it to stay here in Texas. And so that is Saving America for this week. This is Dr. David D. Schein, again, professor, associate dean, attorney, consultant, useful person, author of Decline of America, 100 Years of Leadership Failures. Thanks for tuning in this week.